Hey, what's going on, folks? It's Renzo of 99.5 Play FM's The Home Run. And hey, if you've listened to the show anytime these past couple of years, even this year, you know that these guys have hit #1 on our daily countdown, the 5 Most Wanted, more times than any artist in the history of the entire show. I'm not exaggerating. Of course, I am joined by James, Tristan, Brad, the VAMPS. What's going on, guys?
Yay. How's it going, man?
How's it going? Great. Wait, how's Connor doing? I know he had to step away for a bit, but how's he doing right now?
He's good. He just feels a bit under the weather at the moment. So he's just, he sends his love. He's sorry he couldn't be here. He just feels a bit under the weather at the moment.
All good.
So
Don't
he's
worry
just
about
taking
it
it easy this morning. But he would very much appreciate your Mayday Parade t-shirt. I know he's a big fan.
I'm very glad. I'm very glad. But then, you know, Cherry Blossom, 5th studio album. Congratulations. You know, we're all super proud. And I know it was a super long road to get to this point. But, you know, an album that's been technically over 2 years in the making, if you count Treading Water, finally released. What's the vibe been like, you know, the past couple of days between everyone in the band and behind the scenes now that Cherry Blossom's released?
The vibe's good. It's weird because we can't do that much because of Corona, but the vibe is very, very good. Like, there's so much excitement in the air. You know, like, we're hopeful for certain things, but it doesn't matter if we don't get them, you know, because it's all about us releasing the album, us being happy and getting it out there, and us being happy within ourselves. So we're just so excited. It's a great time, you know, for the Vamps right now, and we just can't wait to follow that up on tour eventually, if it happens, you know, when it does happen. But for now, Cherry Blossom is our main excitement.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously the 2 years in between your previous release was the longest gap the band, you know, has had between albums, but it wasn't like you guys were just chilling out, not doing anything but writing. You guys were touring, playing arena shows, and working your asses off, basically. And, you know, I was wondering, what was it like making that decision as a band to give yourselves a little bit more time before the next album? Because, you know, it's usually a pretty quick in between the albums, but this time it was kind of a long break. What was it like kind of to make that decision as a band?
I think it was a decision that we all personally needed to make, as well as a band. And it wasn't like you say, it wasn't like we were like, right, 2 years, bam, we're not doing anything for 2 years. We, like you say, we still toured and we still did bits, but we just kind of turned the dial down a bit on the intensity of it all, which I think was really needed. And it meant that we could kind of enjoy, not that we didn't enjoy the first few years, but it was just a bit of a whirlwind, man. So I think we realized that we needed to take 2 years to kind of like settle a bit and just take everything in. And that's where like Cherry Blossom was born out of that space, and born out of being able to stay in Japan for like an extra couple of weeks off the back of a tour. So, or having that space and making the decision to go, right, we need to settle so that we can write what we want to be the best album that we've ever done was really important for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's also interesting because you mentioned that it was giving yourself space creatively, personally as well. But I did want to ask, for each of you, you know, Brad, James, Tristan, as musicians, what's the, you know, quarantine been like on your creative mind? Has it been a hinder on your creative, you know, juices, or are you the type of artists that kind of thrive in isolation with more time to kind of be introspective?
What did you say? Go on, James, you go.
No, I was literally just going to say that for this album, we were lucky that we had a lot of the songs sort of in skeleton form before. But I think what the pandemic has done is kind of really reaffirmed to us a lot of the feelings that we had whilst making the album, and it's kind of accentuated that. So, you know, Cherry Blossom meaning sort of rebirth, a new chapter, like a feeling of sort of like quite fragility, and I think that has just made us maybe look at the songs that we'd already written in a slightly different way, and I think, you know, the whole feeling of really wanting to come together as a global community, a global society, and help each other, show compassion and appreciation for each other and the world and nature, has just been sort of multiplied by 10 in each of our minds. Because when we were writing these songs, some of them, yes, maybe were about a relationship, but we now see them as slightly more wider universal statements, I think.
Yeah. Brad, do you want to say something about that as well?
No, I completely agree. I think he's hit the nail on the head there. And I think creatively, in terms of like, it's funny seeing how creatives are reacting to lockdown and isolation, because like you say, some people are like, oh my god, I need to be out and doing things to get the juices flowing. And then like for me, I'm quite like, in terms of creativity, it always is quite an introverted process for me. And like production and stuff, I don't thrive on being around loads and loads of people. I prefer being like just a handful of people or just by myself. So I think it's weirdly been like, you can kind of, there's so many tools at your disposal via like production, and there's so many things that you can like, there's tools that you can download. If you've got instruments around you, it's like, okay, I'm bored, I can pick this up. So I think we're lucky that we've had the album to, and like had creativity to kind of focus on throughout all of this. But I know that it's been weird for a lot of other people, speaking to like other writers and producers. It's been quite a strange time.
Right. And I think it's great that Cherry Blossom is kind of proof of that you guys thrive in that environment, because it does sound great. It does sound honest. How about you, Tristan? Do you kind of thrive creatively in isolation, or are you kind of one of those people that need to be out?
100%. I don't need to be out. I love being in my own bubble, especially when you kind of got your friends around you, like these boys just in your bubble. That's like perfect for me. I don't really like going out that much unless for it's a special occasion or just for occasion, just in general. Obviously, I'm quite social, but in the time of Corona, I think it's important to focus on just not being, not relying on a social life and just relying on what you want to do on that day. So, but like, dude, I just pitch up in the nest, man. I've got a studio in here. I got, like that's exactly where I want to be. I don't want to be anywhere else.
I think it's great. It's great because, you guys pulled a Bon Iver and you guys locked yourselves up in these places, and, made sure to be around your creative energies, and Cherry Blossom was born for that. And it's interesting because you mentioned that the individual production of Cherry Blossom was done over Zoom calls, but then Brad, you mentioned that when you all saw each other again, it was at your parents' houses in the countryside, kind of reminiscing and getting back to your roots. What was it like for each of you going through that nostalgia, and what did you kind of have to take away from it that you brought into Cherry Blossom to make it the record that it is now?
It's funny because we all started off like meeting at each other's houses, and like I said, we all live in quite like suburban or country areas. So I think the idea of going away to these Airbnbs was like consciously or subconsciously like did definitely reconnect us in the way that we connected in the first year of the band. Like just being outside with nature and in these kind of remote areas is something that I think has always been really important for us as a four. Like that's just where we've always connected, and I think that's where we will always connect. And I think like in terms of what that's brought to the album, it's brought like genuine like positivity and happiness, man. Like we really enjoy our own company. We're shit when we go to parties and there's like loads of people there and there's just four of us sat in the corner because we really enjoy our own company. And so going away and making the album like that in the middle of nowhere, just the four of us, I think is just filled it with like positivity and good energy, which is really, really nice.
Right. James and Tristan, you guys want to say anything about that?
I think you smashed it, to be fair.
Yes. All right. Well, okay. Well, now that we're kind of like in this position again, kind of like the same spot that we were in after, the previous release, now that you put it out, no pressure, but have there been talks of album number 6 in the air, or are you guys kind of deciding once again to just slow your roll and be like, okay, let's just, we did really well with Cherry Blossom, giving ourselves some time. Are we going to do that again this time around?
So, I mean, I think, the reason that Cherry Blossom for us, I think it's been so successful for us in our lives is because we did take time to figure out what we wanted to do before doing it. I think, a lot of albums are created on tour or without really thinking about where you want them to end up, and I think you've got to plan that the best things happen after you've planned and thought about them enough. So I think with this album, we don't want this album to be perhaps as fleeting as Cherry Blossom is in real life. We want it to stick around for a while. So hopefully we'll be able to tour it next year when it's safe to, and so I don't know when the next album will be, but I think we've stopped trying to think, right, we want to do an album in March 2021.
Right.
What happens, man?
Yeah, I mean, creatively doesn't work that way. You know, you get asked these questions like, oh, when is the next song coming? When are you writing this one? Like, you can't it's intangible when you can kind of put that out there, or else it wouldn't be the art that you want to make. Well, boys, thank you so much for joining me on this interview. It's been so much fun. Now, before I let you go, you know, Play FM has been the main reason why a lot of people in the Philippines, I got to say, you know, first discovered your music. We played you guys back in 2014, and, you know, it's just been a great ride since then up until today. Can you give a personal message to all the family that's been tuned in through Play FM, who vote for you guys on the 5 Most Wanted, and, you know, what you guys want to say?
100%.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
for tuning in. Everything the 5 Most Wanted, you know, whatever you guys show support, we really appreciate it. Over the years, it's been, a crazy ride. Since 2014, we've loved the Philippines. We need to be there as soon as possible, as soon as it's safe to do so. And we just want to send a massive amount of love to everyone that's listening and tuning in. To stay safe, love each other, listen to Cherry Blossom, and have a great day. That's all you need.
Also, big ups to Play FM. Thank you so much for the support from day one, genuine, and we see it, and we're very, very grateful and appreciative, man. Like, honestly, the support in the Philippines from the fans has been mad, but from you guys as well, it's just for playing the tunes. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and James, is that Moochie in the back?
Yes, mate. She's
dude. Come on. It was funny because someone asked, like one of our listeners asked, can you please ask James how Moochie's doing? Because you tweeted that if Cherry Blossom went #1, you would like eat Moochie.
Yeah, Moochie on toast.
There you go, Moochie on toast. Well, congratulations on the new album, boys. We're super proud, and we can't wait to have you guys back here in Manila. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. Folks, again, the singles, of course, from the VAMPS, Chemicals and Married in Vegas are available on Play FM. Request for them. Listen to them on the Homerun. And again, folks, Brad, James, Tristan of the VAMPS, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, man.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Right.